Is your home starting to feel like it's much more work than it's worth? Well, you're not alone. So many people in Halifax right now are sitting on a little bit of a gold mine in terms of equity in the houses that they currently own. But that home has become just too big, it's too expensive, or even it's just too much to maintain. The good news? Well, right now could be the perfect time to actually sell that big home, release some of the equity while the market is still pretty strong for the sellers right now here in Halifax. And then move into something simpler that's not really sacrificing your lifestyle choices. So in this video, I'm going to show you why the Halifax market right now has created the perfect opportunity for downsizers, how to take advantage of this seller's market without feeling like you're actually rushed into everything, and what kind of smaller homes are offering you huge lifestyle upgrades without actually breaking the bank. To start, let's look at the Halifax market and what's happening right now and why it's going to be such a golden opportunity if you are in this situation with the big house and you want to downsize. If you're holding off on downsizing because you're not sure if it's actually the right time for you, you could be missing out on, I would say, in the last 12 to 14 years of me doing real estate, the biggest opportunity that you have in the Halifax market. The current Halifax market, if you go back over some of the stats video we've done, is firmly, strongly in a seller's market. Yes, we've had a little bit of inventory increase over the last couple of months. We're now at 2.5 months. But when you look at the average price, it's not coming down. It is firmly in the kind of low to mid sixes on average for the whole of HRM. And that puts sellers in a very strong position and in the driving seat. To give you an example of exactly this situation, we recently, I want to say, I'm kind of looking at the calendar, maybe 3-4 months ago, we helped a family in Fall River where they were in this exact same position. They had that 4,000 square foot home in Fall River. You know, it was definitely time to downsize. They've got other things that they wanted to do. Both have retired. The grounds were becoming pretty manageable at the moment, but it's on over an acre of land, so it's going to be a lot more work. And this is the exact situation they find themselves in. So without rushing into the market, we prepared a marketing plan, we executed that. It did take a few more days than we wanted necessarily in the market, but we got them very close to the asking price. And what they've managed to do now is actually going to short-term rental accommodation whilst the next property is actually being built for them in kind of more of that downsizing community. So this is the exact strategy that we've done once, and we did it again last year as well for some clients. Key thing here is they didn't have to rush in to find the new place. We'd already made the plan, they'd already secured, they knew exactly where they were going. That was the first clients. The second clients, well, they just went into some rented accommodation to see what is the downtown Halifax area like. So they're actually renting whilst we're exploring neighborhoods. But the good thing is they don't have to rush. They have the cash in the bank and they can make smart decisions when the right property in the right area actually shows up. So you can actually get in to listing your home whilst the market is as buoyant as it is. Then find a smaller, more manageable property without trading down your lifestyle. Many downsizers, especially if they're in the ones where they've got this huge amount of equity, are pocketing 6 figures after the actual move, and then they're using that to fund retirement, they're funding travel, they're helping kids out with their education, or even helping the kids get on the property market as well. But how do we do this without rushing in and making potentially a costly mistake, moving into an area that you don't like? Let me show you how to position your property and create the plan so that you can move on your terms without the pressure. One of the biggest fears people have when downsizing is it all happens too fast and they just don't know where they're going to go next. But what if I told you there was actually a way to do this strategically so you don't feel rushed or pressured or stuck? Well, let's go back to that family that we just helped move out of Fall River to a place kind of just outside of Windsor called Falmouth. They were absolutely ready to simplify, downsize, move away from all the gardening, the driveway plowing for winter times, and all of the stuff that comes with maintaining the big home. So just last year, I worked with some friends of ours who owned a pretty large home up here in Fall River. Both of the kids had moved out and they were absolutely ready to simplify and just weren't really sure where was the next stage in their life. Their home was listed with a pretty strong marketing package. We definitely listed it in the summer, take advantage of that backyard and the swimming pool, and we got just under asking price for them. But instead of like rushing into where they would go next, so this isn't like the other people that moved to Falmouth, they actually considered moving into a downtown rental, which gives them some time, flexibility to kind of like find that next fit. But also, you know, these are people that were living in Fall River and they were like, let's go and enjoy a little bit of downtown Halifax and see what it has to offer for a while. So now they're touring the different neighborhoods that they've never really thought of before. So zero stress, no pressure, cash in the bank, make a decision whenever they're ready. If you're thinking of downsizing, there is really no need to actually rush the process here. But here's a few things that you can actually start looking at now. Number one, start researching neighborhoods and homes that are kind of going to still match what you're looking for in that next phase of downsizing style. Number two, find an agent, connect with them that really understands what you're going through, what your kind of future requirements, future needs, not only for the house, but also the neighborhood are. And then number three, let's consider like a longer closing date on your property, or even kind of trying to time the market at the right time when you know you can try and get that bit of a longer closing date. But here's the real game changer. Some of these like homes that we're looking at for the downsizing, you might think are almost like compromising on some of the, let's say, the nicer things that you've kind of got used to in your current property, but they're not. Like some of these smaller homes that we're looking at are absolutely like tricked out with kind of all of the nice things that you would expect, and there's no real compromise on lifestyle or quality. And let's not forget, downsizing doesn't have to feel like you're just settling for a smaller home. So let's talk about some of the areas, some of the styles of homes that, you know, are definitely offering some lifestyle upgrades, but without breaking the bank. Now, a lot of people do think downsizing means settling. We're talking smaller space, fewer comforts, and giving up on like the lifestyle that they actually love. But here in Halifax right now, that couldn't really be further from the truth. Some of the, I would say, like the best designed houses on the market right now, as including some of the builders that are actually building the homes right now, are certainly being built with this downsizing lifestyle in mind, which is great news for you if that's you in that situation and you're looking to downsize. So one of the things that you're going to have to consider sometimes is, yes, with downsizing, it's going to be a smaller home, but that also could mean a location change. Now, we did see one property which was a 2-bedroom townhouse just off the Northwest Arm in Halifax, and this property sold for just under $500,000, but it had modern finishes, private patio, walkability to cafes and parks, as well as the waterfront cars, Northwest Arm. Compare that to like a 4-bedroom semi-urban lifestyle home, and it's not difficult to kind of see the cost differences, as well as all the factors that go into maintaining the home. So the lawn, the driveway, the decks, all of those things. And it's not that difficult to see why these things are appealing. So if you're thinking, I'm not ready to give up the comfort, well, time to let's think again. And you might find boutique condos with water views, which are incredibly appealing if they're kind of new. Townhomes with private yards and pretty much little to no maintenance, or flipping over to like a modern flat in a walkable neighborhood, pretty much close to everything you need. And this is not just Halifax, this is, you know, we're talking Bedford, we're talking Dartmouth have these locations as well. So in many cases, your monthly costs are actually going to drop as well once you've actually factored in the whole move. But here's the thing, timing the move still matters lots, because Halifax is changing pretty quickly. Not every neighborhood is going to offer the same long-term value. So one of the things that you should probably think about is potentially moving outside of HRM, and are there some communities that are more focused on that downsizing lifestyle, the smaller properties, but like, you know, especially if you're living in places like the Fall River, the Havens Plains, where we're on drilled wells and septics, but they're actually offering city water, city sewage, smaller yards, smaller driveways, smaller properties, so that you're not really giving up everything. So that's one of the things you've really got to do, is start looking at location and figuring out where is the location that you're going to be comfortable, that has everything you want without obviously going either crazy high price. So start looking at some of those outlying areas. I'm thinking of like Windsor, Falmouth, possibly up in Elmsdale or Enfield. Those areas certainly have city water as well. The thing is, not every downsizing is actually going to lead you to a better life. If you choose the wrong location, you might end up kind of stuck somewhere that doesn't really have what you're looking for in terms of your lifestyle and your long-term plans. But there are a few areas inside of Halifax, as well as just outside, that we kind of just mentioned and gave to you, that are downsizing gold mines. These are affordable, they're walkable, they're low maintenance, and they're also packed with lifestyle upgrades. The thing is, not every downside is going to lead to a better life. If you choose the wrong location, you could end up being stuck in an area that just doesn't suit your lifestyle or your long-term plans. Now, as you can tell, I've helped quite a few people do this downsizing. So if you're in this situation and you're exploring the options, let's have a conversation. The link is down below. Click on that. Let's have a consultation. Let's talk about your plans and let's find you the right area. Also, don't forget, we have lots of videos all about different areas in the whole of HRM. We're going to start covering the ones outside of HRM as well, because we want you to understand the right location is downsizing and where that location might be for you. So stay tuned for those ones coming up.